right, next question that we're going to look at is number 2. Starting off with domain and range here. So again, we're thinking about boundary points on our x values and our y values. If we think about our domain as the boundary lines for the x values, right, we can see where this function is going to start and stop. And we can also see the highest and lowest x values and y values. So in this case, our x values go from -4 to +4. Okay. But there's an open circle at -4, so we don't want to include -4. There's a closed circle at +4, so we do want to include +4. For the range, we're thinking of the y coordinates or the y values of this function, right? So if I think about any boundary lines that I can draw in for this function, the highest y coordinate that we can have is a +3, and the lowest y coordinate that we can have is -1, and these are both included in our range. So our range goes from -1 to +3. Next is our x-intercepts. So where this is crossing the x-axis. So we have 3 x-intercepts here. We have one at -3, -1, and +4. Right. Next up is the y values, or the y-intercepts. Right. We have one y-intercept at the point 0, 1. And next is our intervals here. So again, we're thinking of when the function is positive. If we're looking at our function where it is positive here, right, there's 2 different spots where our function is positive. So we're looking at this portion, and we're also looking at this little portion right where the function starts. Okay, so the f of x values are positive when x is between -4 and -3, so that would represent this portion. And our function is also positive when x is greater than -1 but less than 4. Okay. So again, we're looking at the portion of the curve where it's above the x-axis, so that would be our positive intervals. Our next portion is our negative interval. So this is where our function is below the x-axis. So our function is negative when x is between -3 and -1. So when x is greater than -3 but less than -1. Our last 2 intervals that we're looking at is interval increasing and interval decreasing. So as we read this curve from left to right, we start off by decreasing, then our function increases, and then it decreases one more time. So we have really 3 different intervals that we need to identify as increasing and decreasing. So as we start reading this from left to right, from -4 to -2, our function is decreasing. Okay. Then our function increases from -2 to +2. Okay. So I'm looking at the x values here from -2 to +2. Our function is increasing. and then our function decreases from positive 2 to positive 4. Okay. Lastly, we're going to look at our rate of change. The rate of change, again, is just the slope over an interval from -2 to 0. Okay. So if we're looking at our linear function here from -2 to 0, we're looking for the slope of this portion of the function. So this would be a slope of 1 over 1, or rise over run, which gives us a rate of change of 1.